Welcome to the Academic Writing Amplified podcast. On this podcast, we believe that the culture of academia needs to change radically. Women and non-binary people are revolutionizing academia within institutions that were not built for us. If you're ready to reject the culture of overwork, kick guilt and overwhelm to the curb, and amplify your voice to make a real impact on your field without breaking down or burning out, you're in the right place. With our team of experienced writing coaches as co-hosts, we'll share insights and talk to inspiring guests to bring you the practical strategies, systems, and mindset shifts you need to find time to write, publish work you love, and design your career on your terms. And it all starts with writing. Let's go. Hello, and welcome back to the Academic Writing Amplified podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Mazak, and I am so happy that you're here today. Today, we are dealing with a topic that is so common, making time, right? I wrote a book called Making Time to Write because you all use the words making time so much, and it's so connected to writing for you all. So today's episode is about making time, and specifically it's an interview with Dr. Janet McCabe, and we are talking about her fear of joining the Navigate program and not making time to participate. There's lots of other things we talk about in this interview. Janet joined Navigate during a period in her life where she was dealing with grief, where she was trying to manage an administrative role and keep her writing and publication going. And certainly, understandably, one of her fears was making time for the program. So I hope that you will enjoy listening to this episode where you're going to hear her talk through that and many other things. And I just want to remind you that making time is really about really great decision making, about decisions, about honing that discernment skill, which is the number one academic skill that you can develop. Also, a reminder, our Navigate program is open right now for enrollment. You can go to scholarsvoice.org/navigate and read all about it in a beautifully updated web page with all the program details. On that page, you will find prominently an Apply Now button. Please go ahead and apply. That starts our process of seeing if the program is a good fit for you. So I can't wait for you to listen to Janet's story, and I can't wait to get your Navigate application. Applications close on August 15th, and we start the program with our first meeting on August 29th. So apply today. I can't wait to get your application. All right, have a great day and enjoy this interview. All right, welcome to the podcast, Janet. I'm so glad to have you here. Introduce yourself to the podcast audience and say a little bit about who you are, what you study, your position.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Janet McCabe. I'm an associate professor in our Faculty of Health Sciences at Ontario Tech University in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. And I am currently the associate dean of our undergraduate programs. And my research is in nursing, because I'm also a registered nurse. And I primarily research individuals with intellectual disability in the context of quality of life and supporting their health and the healthcare education.
Nice. Beautiful. Thank you so much. So we're going to navigate today, and I have some questions for you to kind of help people who are listening to understand what the program is like and maybe think about, if they're thinking about joining, they might hear something in what you say that says oh, okay, I'll do it. Everybody should take this program. So when you were thinking about joining Navigate, what was it that you wanted to achieve, or what problem were you facing that made you join the program?
I think when I considered joining Navigate the first time and didn't, I was definitely in a state of burnout and thought that it would solve all my problems, and then realized that perhaps now was not the right time. But then when I actually joined Navigate, I was preparing for my sabbatical, and I just wanted to develop some structure around my research and writing, and knew from previously looking at the program that this would probably be something that really jived with the way that I work.
Awesome. So you were actually on sabbatical when you took Navigate the
I
First
think I
Time.
was
I'm trying
going
to
into
remember.
sabbatical.
Going into sabbatical. Yeah. So that structure that you were looking for, it takes me a little bit, if you don't mind, about what happened with the burnout. You don't have to get too detailed. Just like, what were you looking for in like your recovery from that?
I mean, I've been in academia for a long time, had had 2 kids, had had significant loss personally, one of whom was a co-writer. So I think for me, I had dealt with a lot of that emotion, but then needed to really refocus on my writing and getting through some writing versus just always coming to my writing thinking, well, I can't do this because my co-writer's not here. And really moving through that to just be like, you know what, it's okay to put that project aside and focus on something different that is tackleable, for lack of a better word, and rebuild some of the confidence that I had
Yeah.
lost in my writing process. And I had been in administration for a number of years before that as our associate dean nursing. So through COVID, through strikes, etc., those are big roles. And I think we tend to, especially as women, tend to put our own stuff to the side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people, we've had several people do Navigate because they're trying to figure out how to keep their relationship with their research while also being an administrator, which is not straightforward.
No. And it's not straightforward if you want to do it in the confines of your day to day and not have it seep into the after hours, the time that you should be using for yourself or your family or other things.
Yeah. Okay. So when you think about the program, what part of the program like had the biggest impact on you or changed you the most, do you think?
I really, to this day, the research statement or our mission statement,
Yep.
I just moved my office and it's not on my bulletin board, so I can't read it. But up until this weekend, it has been. And I have it at my office on campus as well. And I think that has been one of the strongest elements that I still hold on to post Navigate. And I use it when I have projects that come to be presented to me. I've used it to say no to things because I've looked at it and been like, nope, that is not in the mission statement. And I've used it to say, yes, you should do this because you can make this fit. I've also used it to say yes when I may have should have said no. But I said yes because I was able to craft a project that would then give me my mission statement.
Yeah.
I think that is probably the biggest thing. And I'll use it in my when I go for full professor in years from now. I can pull that through. So it's really a grounding piece of art because I made it into like a pretty thing.
I love it. Yes. I mean, I suggest that everyone puts it up, but people do get very creative and make it beautiful. So that's wonderful.
Well, it's always there. So I just want to make it something that I want to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Okay. What are other tools that you find yourself using? Things that we've done in the program, in addition to the mission statement, is there anything that kind of stands out that you go back to?
I still, about once a quarter, when we map out our year,
Yeah.
I find that really helpful. Have I perfected it in the sense that I'm still like using it all the time? No, but it really gives me a sense of when we need to give ourselves breaks and when we need to be kinder to ourselves and when we can maybe push a little bit more with the writing. So looking at that year and saying, okay, when is exam time? When are grades due? When is all my marking coming in? When is that conference? When do my kids have PA days and I have holidays that I want to take? And putting that all on a 1 year page really makes you realize how much time you have in some spaces and how little time you have in others. And really made me realize that I was trying to put too much in to the busy times and then not enough in the non busy times.
Yeah.
That tool is still something that I use. I'm still working on breaking down my projects into smaller tasks, but once I master that, it will be a great tool.
Something too, right? That is, it takes time. It takes so much time and kind of self reflection and practice to do that. So,
And I think that's another thing I really took away from the program was that this whole concept, like Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes.
And it's okay that your paper isn't done in a day. And it's okay that your paper isn't finished in 4 weeks, because maybe it's going to take you 12 or 16
Yeah.
because you're working in reality and not
Yes.
on paper. And
And
I
you're
think the
working.
slow progression through Navigate really, really reinforces that every week is different. There's ebbs and flows, and you have to acknowledge them if you want to be successful in your own mind.
Yeah. And there's context, right? Like that's what that other tool of the writing roadmap year thing does. It's like
Yes.
it puts your writing into context and reminds you that you're human and experiencing lots of things and that,
And that your job isn't just writing.
yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
so good. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about results. So in the Navigate program, people come into the program because they want to publish stuff. So it went for you, and were you able to get publications out like
I
while
was
you're in the
able to get
program?
publications.
Yeah.
I did. I got 2 publications out and submitted,
Amazing.
which was amazing. And months later, because that cycle takes a long time, they both got rejected. But
Okay.
now I have a first draft to work with.
Yes.
That has been, I mean, that in and of itself is, I got it out. I got it into someone's hands. They read it. I got some feedback,
Yep.
or I had a suggestion to say, this is not the right match. We're going to send it to this journal. Great. Thank you. So for me, that was a big result. But I think more fundamentally, my approach changed. And it was less about the, yeah, I got the numbers of journals out, or I did this, or I did that. It was about, I have a system that I can follow down.
Yes. And a reconnection, right? Like
Oh,
after,
100%.
yeah.
I sat down to my writing without dread
Mm.
and without the emotion that I had attached to it.
Yeah. And that's like such a big deal. Like, I also want to just acknowledge, because this is something I've been thinking so much about, is like how emotional writing is. Like, that is true. And also how affected by our emotions writing is. So if we're going through things that are unrelated, like you had emotional relations to the actual writing because of your loss, because of everything that happened. And also, we're all going through our lives as humans, feeling different things. And without acknowledging that, you're not going to be able to sit down without dread.
It's a creative process. And
Yes.
sometimes I think we treat it as though it is a task that should be easy to accomplish. But writing is a creative process. And I think that you have to acknowledge the emotions that go into creative processes. So sometimes you might sit down to write and it's a bad day, or maybe you had a blowout with your kids, or there's stuff going on in the world that's affecting you. You're not going to sit down perfect every day when you come to the table to write.
Absolutely. So good. All right. So my next few questions are like finish the sentence questions.
Well, I feel like I'm going to see. I'm ready.
Almost didn't join because
I was worried that I wasn't going to make the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. The next one. My favorite part of working in Navigate was
working with other people that were in very different situations, but realizing that we all faced the same types of barriers or different barriers, and appreciating that.
Yeah, I love that about it too. So the next question is just, who would you recommend Navigate to and why?
Everyone, everywhere, all the time. I have recommended Navigate to new faculty that have joined, especially when you're fresh. I mean, these were fresh out of PhD programs joining faculty. And I said, you should really join this program, because you're telling me you don't know how to balance all of the things that are coming at you. Yeah. And that was one of the great things that I got out of Navigate, was that you can look at these things and say, how can I help that contribute to my research?
Yeah.
Mid-career researchers or writers who need a little bit of a reboot. I think that was where I was. Post administration, going back to administration. My research had fallen off. I'm not incapable. I needed a little push. I think anyone who's struggling with just the realities of the world and making time for writing, it really puts it in context and gives you a framework to work from.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for spending your valuable time supporting yourself and your writing by listening to this episode. If you like what you heard today, the best way to say thank you is to hop on over to Apple iTunes and write an honest review. The more reviews, the more amazing academic women and non-binary people will find this podcast. So go write one now.